All right. Yesterday, this guy, I'll give you his name. One second. He's a member of my WhatsApp group. He's a guy in his very early 30s. His name is Rajat Kumar Ram from Odisha in India. He said it's okay to give him a shout out. Okay. So this young man, he is in my WhatsApp groups. And yesterday he shared something really beautiful with me. He shared a photograph of his firstborn, a lovely child. And I was honored that he thought of sharing it with me. And so after he shared, I congratulated him. And then he said, "Sir, just a request, if you can, you make a video on being a father. First time father, how's it? And what advice would you give?" I said, "Fine, I'll do that." So this video is for Rajat Ram from Odisha. Seems it's in the eastern part of India. Never heard of that place. Would definitely like to do a bit of research. So yeah, what are my tips or advice as a first-time father? See, you need to understand first is I've just been a father for 4-5 years. So I'm not an expert of any sort. There are people who have had like 2, 3, 4 children, some even 11, and some have been fathers for 20, 30 years. So they would be someone who can give you better advice. But since you want my perspective, I can offer you a few personal experiences. So if any one of you knows a bit more, feel free to comment down below. The first thing I'll tell you is after you have your first time baby, the reactions can be either surprise, or you'll feel totally lost, or you'll not know what to do, or you'll be in absolute joy, or you'll cry, or you will not know how to react. So it's not at all predictable. In my case, when I saw my baby for the first time, I was totally lost. I was like, I was blank for the first time in my life. I was like, what the fuck do I do? I didn't know what to say, what to do, whether to kiss, not to kiss. I just was like lost. And following that, it took some time for me to accept the fact that this is a baby and I'm a father. It came as a mild shock to me, even though I was preparing mentally. So after the baby was brought home, me and my wife had to literally rearrange everything. Before I used to sleep like with my wife, to sleep together, and my wife would sleep late. She would, stay awake with me late night. But once after the baby was born, she couldn't do that. So, I made the bedroom that was there. We cleared it up in such a way that she could sleep and with the baby, and I would sleep in my office studio space. Why? Because the baby would cry, and the baby needs sleep and should not be disturbed. One thing which you'll immediately face or notice is the baby will cry often, and it will get up multiple times in the night, and the mother cannot sleep. And if you both sleep together and you have to go to work, all the best. You'll not be able to sleep at night. So for me, because I work odd hours, I work like till 6 in the morning, and I sleep maybe from 6 to, or I work till 4 o'clock in the night. I sleep and I get up at afternoon. So obviously my wife, she has a baby now. So she has to adjust to the baby. So I slept separate, she slept separate. One thing I made it very clear to my wife, I'm not going to clean the poop and the diapers. That's just not me. I can't do it. I don't want to do it. I know you can say, hey, what the hell, man? So the parent. If required, I would have done it, but because I had an option, I chose not to. It's not that I find it disgusting or it's not my baby. When my wife gave birth to my baby, obviously the vagina bleeds a lot. You tear a lot of muscle and tissue. So when she was the first day, just immediately after giving birth, when she was in the suite that I booked, and she was there, she was hemorrhaging pretty badly, and they'd put a cloth or whatever, and she told me, call someone to change it, please. So I went and checked. There was nobody. There was just nobody there. And when I approached one nurse after finally finding, she was like, okay, but there's no staff and this and that. So I was like, hell with this. So I went back, asked my wife, where are your pads that they gave you? She showed me. I changed it. I cleaned her. So there's full blood gushing out and all. My wife was shocked that I would do it. I said, it doesn't matter, you're my wife. So I cleaned, and as I was cleaning her, then the nurse and the senior nurse and one other lady walked in. And they were shocked to see what I was doing. They said, what are you doing? And I said, I called to help for this. Nobody is there. So I have to do it. They said, okay. They were really embarrassed, and then they came and they said they'll do it. And obviously they use gloves and all that. So, yeah. So what I'm trying to tell you is, I'm not ashamed or I find it disgusting. Just an option I chose, and I told my wife, only you'll do it. My wife did tease me, hey, come on, you should. But I said, no, nothing doing. And also because she's my daughter, and it's a girl, and I'm just particular about, she being a girl. So I'm just protective about it. Not that I'll get any bad thoughts, but, as a father. So I just told her, yeah. And I also made it very clear to my wife that as the baby grows up, because she's my daughter, at some stage, I want you to tell her it's not okay to run around naked. I know I'm going far ahead, but I told my wife in advance, when she becomes at an age where she can walk, I don't want her running around naked. Please, just teach her she has to cover herself and not to be comfortable with other naked children. Because I've been sexually molested and raped, and I know what it is. So even small children can engage in this kind of behavior without knowing what they're doing. So I made sure, and even anyone kissing or hugging, not allowed. No outsider, even family member is allowed to kiss or fondle or touch or sit on their lap. No. You're not allowed to touch my child. I will protect my child, and especially if alcohol is served. So nobody kisses my daughter, nobody touches my daughter. And she has made it clear to her family people, it's what I'm particular about. So, because, we live in a very crazy world. My own uncle, who I loved, who I thought was like my father figure, he sexually raped and molested me. So, what can you say about it? So yeah, I'm very particular about this. So, and whatever handling of the baby has to be done in front of either mine or her eyes. So, anybody. The only exception to this rule is my wife's mother and her father, who was there at that time. He's passed away. I trusted them and I knew they were okay. But still my wife would keep an eye. So that's another thing. You have to be very careful of the safety of the baby. Another thing you have to be very careful is, remember, it's a small child. It just runs anywhere, everywhere, puts its finger into anything. My daughter almost put her fingers in the electric socket and had to really shout and all that. And one of the videos that was removed by YouTube because they thought I was abusing the child. And cops actually came, surrounded my villa with guns. I made that video before. They thought I was harming the child because I put this video, because there is this cupboard with drawers, no? So my daughter used to pull the drawer, climb up, pull another drawer, climb up. So the whole cupboard would fall down. You can see these videos on YouTube. So my daughter had done that twice or thrice. So finally what I decided is she had to learn the lesson. So an empty plastic cupboard, in front of me, my wife took a video and I told my daughter to step in. She stepped in. She was very happy because that's what she liked to do. It only had 4 drawers. It was still here. So, and when it falls, your leg gets stuck, right? You can't move. And if it is heavy, the leg can get crushed. So it was empty. It was light. So I made sure that her foot was inside the drawer. It was slightly, one drawer is still here. So she stepped in. I made sure that this drawer was down, and then her leg was stuck. It slightly started to pain her, and she wanted to pull it out. She started to panic and cry and howling and all that. So then I told my wife, let her get it out, and she could not, and she kept crying and howling. And finally, when she realized that this is a no, she never went to the cupboard ever again. She went and hugged my wifey, and then when I asked her, you want to climb in again? She never did it after that. Sadly, this was viewed as child abuse, and somebody from my YouTube community or someone was following me, reported this to the authorities that this evil guy is abusing children and his wife and all that. So they came with guns and all that because they thought I was maybe on drugs or drunk. So when they came, then they spoke to my wife separately. They kept me aside and they took my wife separate and they asked, is this man abusing you and is he dangerous? He said, no, a very loving father. So then finally they said, can we check your house? They wanted to check for drugs and alcohol and all. And they were shocked when they found out only books. They saw so many books and trophies and all that which I had outside. They said, is he a bookseller? She said, no, he teaches people, he's a teacher. So they were very shocked that this tattooed face was one. So so this thing, keep in mind, the child would jump anywhere and everywhere. Make sure that your house is child friendly, like cupboards, pulling stuff, the freezer, and electrical sockets. We ensured that this plastic plug where you put it in and it closes it. It's not like when you put a device, when you put a fuse or I don't know, adapter, what do you call it? It goes in and then there are holes where you can put something else, right? This one is just like a plastic, it's flat, but it has this projections, goes in and nobody can put their finger. I also mentioned in one of my videos, which I said I hit my wife. That was because one day, see, I have 16 security cameras in the house. The reason for this is when I'm sitting inside and my wife is also busy sometimes, the baby can run anywhere. The baby can run out of the house. You'll sometimes never know. And also be careful. You see these roads, no? Many children, they just run across roads. So that is why when my baby used to walk, I had it's like kind of a vest. Like, you know how a dog has a collar? This one has like a vest and it has a strap that you can hold. So as she moves, she's at an arm's length and I hold it in my hand, or you can tie it to your wrist. So when they go a little bit further, you stop it. And this was very useful when my baby started to walk and sometimes would fall down. And because I had that leash, when she would fall, she wouldn't bang her face or anything. I would hold her up, And once it happened, when we went to the fish and vegetable market, she suddenly, I don't know, just thought of running because she saw one of the sellers who she recognized. Thankfully, I had it because, cars were zooming. So I managed to hold it. So keep that in mind. Many accidents take place where children are dead. In fact, one of my groups, which is Blood and Gore, they have actually shown one in India where this child is nothing but a mush of flesh and bones. And the mother is crying and trying to put together the complete blood and flesh, and baby is gone because just ran in traffic, cars. I know this sounds disgusting, but it's true, You have to take care of your child. Your child doesn't know what the hell is going on. And so I was telling you, 16 cameras. So I was sitting and working, and my wife was just busy cooking. She was cooking, but she was doing something else also. So my baby from somewhere took one of the chairs, with wheels. It has an office chair, but it was kept in the kitchen. She pushed it to where the gas stove was, and she climbed on top, and then she climbed on top. Imagine, fish was cooking, very hot oil, so much oil. Okay, full big container with fish, and it was boiling. My baby stood up, and I don't know, I was just doing my work, and I looked up. I always like to check what's happening where. And because I have a camera that is, 16 cameras all around the house, because I had a camera seeing that, immediately I rushed out. I didn't say a word, I rushed out, because if I screamed, maybe the baby would get startled and fall into the oil. Rushed out and immediately pulled the baby down. And my wife was actually looking at a YouTube movie or something. She didn't even realize. I was so angry. I took one of the wooden spatulas and gave her one. It broke. And, with 3 fingers, I kind of slapped her. I didn't slap her full force. And that was the first time, and the only time in my life I have raised my hand. But the baby could have died. So keep that much. The baby will climb anywhere and everywhere. And my baby daughter is like a boy. So he'll jump, climb, go anywhere and everywhere. So keep that in mind. Then, apart from that, you always have to be alert. When sitting on the scooter, my baby used to have a habit of jumping up, and my wife used to enjoy, looking this side, looking that side. And it kind of hurts the balance of the scooter. So one time I had to stop and spank the baby on the bum, on the leg for jumping. It's crazy. And once when I kept my baby in front of me, when she was, the scooter has a gap, so you can make the child sit in front of you. But I always use in Amazon you can get, it's like a belt for the baby, and it attaches to you. So it's like 2 loops. So my baby sits safely, and even if anything happens, nothing. And I always made it mandatory, even from the day before my baby was born, to put a helmet. So as we are driving the scooter, all of a sudden the scooter stops, because my baby had turned the key and switched it off. So be careful. Then I guess the final thing you'll have to keep in mind is, which I realized, even with all my intellect, I used to tell my wife, when I have to do my work and videos and all that, don't disturb. It was very hard because the baby used to cry. Initially, I told my wife, take the baby and go down for some time. Let me make the video for half an hour. But then I didn't like it. I was like, what the hell, yeah. So then I actually shifted making my videos to this outdoor sessions, and I would make it when they were asleep. But obviously, when the baby grows up a little bit, I always tell my wife, take the baby in, tell her not to make noise. She could understand, give her the iPad, and she would be busy with that. And, because my work is at home making videos, I need peace and quiet. One thing keep in mind, All your walls will be dirty. Your baby will scribble on all the walls. My books were covered with baby food, and seriously, my books, very expensive books. And luckily, I'm in my room, which they are not allowed to come. I know parents or people who are parents with children, their laptop has actually been destroyed because the baby put water or broke the keys or smashed the monitor or dropped the laptop from. So be very careful with your electronics. Be very careful with your money. There are videos of children taking a scissor and cutting the money, scribbling on the passport. So all the important stuff, keep it hidden away, out of the reach of the baby, and especially dangerous stuff like knives, all that stuff, you have to keep it away. So make sure your house is child friendly, especially the edges of chairs or tables. The edges, no, they can fall and get hurt. My baby once when we went shopping, she saw a chair where, the design was such where you could hang on, and she hung on there, and the chair and her, she fell down, the chair fell on top of her. Thankfully, the chair was light. Now, one thing you'll find controversial, which I don't recommend you to do if you are not comfortable. Anytime my baby would fall, I would not rush to pick her up. Tell her to get up. And be mindful. Kids, especially when they get excited, they just run. So when they run in a shopping mall, once my daughter smashed her face, boof, actually flat, she smashed her face on this. I was just worried she broke her teeth or her nose. Luckily, maybe because her bones were soft, she just had bleeding on the lips, and I told her, get up, get up. Next time, if you run slowly. So why I did that was to teach my child, you fall, you get up. Some people have this thing that if you are a girl, you have to be gentle, you're a boy, make them strong. I want my daughter to be strong, not gentle. So yeah, apart from that, just remember, whatever you eat, the baby would like to eat. Whatever you do, the baby observes. Taika, don't... this I've done mistake a couple of times, I'll admit. Shouting and screaming initially, because I was a new father. And yes, once I did spank the baby on the bum, which I shouldn't have. That was very wrong from my side. So you lose your temper, you lose your sleep, everything will be crazy. So even when you drive or go to a restaurant and all that, all the dynamics change, man. And yeah, the biggest one of all is your expenses will rise exponentially. Pampers, see if you can get, at a discount, or if you buy in bulk, Pampers, baby food, food for, other toys and accessories. Make sure that they are safe. So a lot of money will be spent. And yes, you have to keep the dates of the vaccination, and you have to be alert when the baby is sick. You have to really observe. That is why I made sure my wife was a housewife. So her focus is 24/7 with the baby. And yes, very important, make sure the baby drinks breast milk as long as possible. My daughter kept drinking her mother's milk until now. She's almost going to be 5. The only reason she stopped was because when she went to the village, elder sister said, what the hell is this? How much is she drinking milk? Stop it. And only now she stopped. Imagine, after nearly 4.5 years, or nearly 5 years. She's going to be 5 in July. So almost like 5 years. So the reason being is, it is the best at strengthening the baby with antibodies. And please don't smoke and drink in the house. It's not good. Because the baby will observe all this. In fact, the baby will like to do what you're doing. My baby wants to come when I'm typing or when I'm doing some work. And she likes to copy me. If I eat pizza, she wants to taste. Eat oranges, she wants to eat. In fact, I eat food that is slightly expensive because it's not usual Thai food. It is like exported. So my baby wants to have all that. But I made sure, I told my wife, let her live like a Thai person. I don't want her to live the luxurious route because then they spoil. And make sure your baby does not drink Coke and Pepsi. And make sure chocolates and ice creams are limited. So, and discipline your child whereby they don't eat too much of chocolates and ice creams and especially smart devices. See, hey doggy, what are you guys doing? Following me? All these doggies. Anyone else would have been scared. They don't have food, man. Anybody else would have ran away. You see how many dogs? Hey doggies. All dirty. So I don't want to touch you too much. Anyone else would have ran away. You know, if you run away, dogs will bite. And there have been cases like this. So, I am comfortable with dogs. So, anyway, this is my long drawn out tips and tips, tricks, strategies. But yeah, make sure your child eats natural, healthy food and keep a check for the weight. Don't puff up the baby. I see so many small kids with Pepsi, Coke, chocolates, ice cream. They're fat as fuck. Like, what the hell, man? This is a small child. So make sure the child does plenty of outdoor activities, not indoor, and not especially not smart devices. My daughter is on the smart device for 1 hour every day before sleeping, and after she gets this only after practicing reading. My wife reads to her and made it a habit for her to read books, which she always asks me to buy books. Told my wife, unlimited budget, buy as many books as required. So those are the good habits you have to inculcate. Remember, they copy you. So yeah, this is what I wanted to share. Hope Rajat, you watched this video to the end. I don't know if you got bored. So Rajat Kumar Ram from Odisha. Congrats on having your first baby, and for anyone else who is having a baby, I hope these tips have helped you. Alright, you guys take care. This is me signing off.